So the expanding economic and political footprint of China in Southeastern, Central and Eastern Europe presents both challenges and opportunities for the United States and for the European Union. But for Beijing, engaging in the region is particularly interesting because it can serve as an entry point for the Belt and Road Initiative to the rest of Europe. But besides just pushing trade and investments, China is also actively engaging in the region to foster a more positive image of itself, promoting its own political and economic model, and shaping local narratives about China or relations with China. And we certainly have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic that China has made new inroads by providing much needed medical assistance, but also by stepping up its own propaganda game. So many of China's soft power efforts are also aimed at certain key influential elites, such as in business, politics, academia, or NGOs. But even so, public perceptions of China have deteriorated across the region, as they have elsewhere across Europe in recent years. But besides influencing individual countries, Beijing is also interested in leveraging political influence to have a wider regional impact, influencing EU consensus or influencing transatlantic alignment on particular issues of concern to Beijing, such as human rights or the situations in the South China Sea, Hong Kong, Xinjiang, or in Taiwan.
China's influence in Central and Eastern Europe is not as pervasive as many may think. On the contrary, because the economic links are underdeveloped, countries in the region have had the ability to pivot away from China over the past few years. Nonetheless, in some countries, relations with China are still very strong, mainly because of the politicians in power who are very friendly towards Beijing. This was the case of Romania between 2012 and 2015, and today we can see this type of relation develop with Serbia and Hungary. But once there is a change of government, as there was in Romania, there are very few strong links that can keep a country bound to China. I think it is important to invest in developing strong communities of experts, researchers, and journalists who can analyze and write about China and its relations to countries in Central and Eastern Europe and beyond. China remains a topic that isn't discussed as much as it could be, and Romania is a prime example in this regard. At the same time, the best ways to build resilience remain the traditional ones: improving and strengthening institutions, providing support to the civil society, and promoting democratic values.
Even though there are many examples of China taking advantage of fragile state institutions, elite capture, and weak civil societies to exert its own economic, political, and soft power influence, there are also several points of resilience that can put a limit on China's influence in countries in Southeastern and Central Europe. For instance, many countries in the region have become more disillusioned with China in recent years, and especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And political shifts in some countries have led to more China-skeptical governments who are keener on reaffirming ties with the United States and the European Union. In other cases, Chinese projects have also been interrupted by growing pushback from local and subnational actors such as trade unions or mayors. Even so, the United States and the European Union must step in to help vulnerable states in the region better manage the rapid influx of Chinese political, economic, and soft power influence. And this includes developing a better understanding of local countries' interests when it comes to dealing with China, but also helping them, promoting good governance, building local resilience, strengthening civil society and local analytical capacity, but also being present and providing greater alternatives to Chinese investments, or simply denying China any obvious diplomatic openings, such as when it comes to providing assistance during COVID.